Alright y'all, listen to this. Welcome back to the channel. Joe Budden is making it crystal clear he wants zero parts of this Akademiks versus Charlamagne situation. Now hold up, fans have been pressing Joe to break this whole thing down or at least drop a real take, especially since he actually knows both sides and has history working with them. But for whatever reason, man, Joe is standing firm and not giving an inch. On his latest podcast, episode 938, he basically pulled a Ray Charles move and said he's not seeing or speaking on any beef between Charlamagne and AkademiksTV, also known as George Wynn. And girl, he didn't stop there. Joe even called Charlamagne out for going back and forth with someone he views as practically faceless. It's given the same energy as when Joe checked Jay-Z for responding to everybody he threw shots at during the Roots picnic, because in Joe's mind, Charlamagne's platform is way too big for that. You won't believe this, but even with Akademiks' name and brand clearly attached, Joe still refuses to entertain the situation at all. So yeah, here's exactly what he had to say.
On my off day, and sit on the phone for 2 hours to talk about Akademiks and Charlamagne, even though Charlamagne is your friend. So did you call Charlamagne? Are we getting to the root of this thing or what? Because I called.
You said you didn't want to cover it, so I let it alone.
No, I said I don't want to cover it. I don't want to cover a Charlamagne versus George, Grand Wizard, whoever this loser nigga is that I don't fuck with. Hey, George, Grand, whatever your name is, the second you step foot on American soil, I'm calling the police. That don't hit as hard as what I wanted to say. I'm calling the cops on you. Fuck that nigga. But
give us the breakdown, Joe.
This topic seems to be pretty hot.
It is.
The fans are on me for not talking about it. And yo, listen, I don't care about it, a lot of the shit that y'all care about. In the group chat, Mark tried to send me whatever old Skino had to say.
Yeah, we saw that.
Nigga, the Knicks just won the championship. Oskino, I don't listen to what you got to say on a regular Wednesday. I damn sure ain't about to do it on a Knicks championship run. Next week, we'll get into some of that. Who else? Somebody else been talking shit. But anyway, I called. Yeah, shout out to Oskino. But anyway, I called Ak up, and I said, all right, how real is you versus Charlamagne? Is it really happening now? I seen you go online and say, if you call me telling me some shit and you don't tell me who it come from, I assume that you down with it. I've seen him going on his podcast talking about it. Where does this stand? And Ak said to me the same thing that I told the JBTV fans he was going to say. Yo, I ain't got no beef with Charlamagne. I have zero beef with Charlamagne. What's going on is this dude, whoever George is, the AkademiksTV page, for Akademiks, that is his community. That's not just one person. That is his world of clippers, and it just happens to have a head clipper who runs his account, according to Ak. That has been like a fan-run page for quite some time. And that page, the George dude specifically, has something going on with Charlamagne, to whereas George thinks that Charlamagne is sicking private investigators on him and trying to dig into his life. He's saying he's walking out of the house and seeing strange people, and he puts that on Charlamagne. And Charlamagne is saying this dude is and continues to post horrible things about me, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this, because who is this faceless person that's from Australia that's named George that got this resume? And Charlamagne is on his podcast running it down. To me, even that sounds funny, because Charlamagne beefing with some fucking faceless nigga in Australia that runs a Clipper page looks nuts, but I'm not in his shoes.
Why look nuts?
I don't agree with that.
Why does it look nuts?
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
Well, you gonna talk? You want me?
I'm about to go.
I think his voice is. I think his voice is too big. Like, if you feel like somebody is tweeting defamatory things, there are ways to go about that in the back channels and take care of it. But also, if Homeboy is right in these private eyes being from Charlamagne, and that means we're already doing things behind the scenes to try to rectify the situation. So there's no need to make a public spectacle. There's no need to take something light that's serious. Don't misrepresent it.
To a lot of these folks, though, especially the nameless ones who run around saying the craziest shit about people, the one place you get them is removing that faceless part. Now, if I show the world this is who you are.
In court.
Well, to them, court of public opinion.
See, I think Charlamagne is too big for the court of public opinion gauge. That's my opinion.
But it's attached to Akademiks.
That's my opinion.
Akademiks is a big media page. It's attached to him. So it gets more light than it's not light. It gets more light because it's attached to Akademiks. So if that platform that's attached to you is saying something defamatory about me, and I know it's going to get a lot of views, I'm going to take it upon myself to find out who it is. I don't think Charlamagne is doing anything wrong.
Well,
I do agree with what you say. Maybe you shouldn't talk about it publicly, but fuck all that shit. Yeah, send niggas to his house and find out who he is and get the information.
And again, according to Ak, he has told this page stand down on Charlamagne or speaking about his peers because he don't rock like that. But if the dude running the page feels like there are private eyes and other things happening in my life that he is attributing to Charlamagne, according to Ak, it's tough for Ak to then say, yo, all right, stand down. So Ak feels like he's in a tough spot, in a vulnerable, compromised position. He says he wants to get on the phone and squash it with both of them because that shit is whack. And this is not an Akademiks versus Charlamagne thing.
Okay.
This is Charlamagne versus the dude, the George. And he's caught in the middle of it. That is what I got from our 90 minutes, 2 hours of talking. And that's all the research I'm doing on it.
I think that's what the fans wanted. They wanted your take on it.
Investigative journalism.
Exactly. We nailed it.
Now listen, off the jump, if I was sitting right there on the Joe Budden podcast, I would have cut him off immediately and asked, hold up, bro, why are you even talking about calling the cops on George Wynn? Did he really do something that personal to push you there? Because let's be real, that kind of energy doesn't just come out of nowhere. And man, this ain't even the first time. We're now looking at the second instance where Joe Budden has thrown a direct threat towards AkademiksTV.
When I find that little motherfucker behind that AkademiksTV page, I got somebody that I'm gonna send to talk to him.
Let's be honest here. This feels way more personal than Joe is trying to make it seem. Now hold up. When Joe says Charlamagne shouldn't even address this because his voice is too big, that argument kind of falls apart when you look at where Charlamagne is actually speaking. He's not on The Breakfast Club, not on radio, not on Netflix. He's on his podcast just chopping it up about trending topics like everybody else. And if you really think about it, if Charlamagne stayed completely silent, you already know the narrative. Fans would be screaming that he's ducking smoke from AkademiksTV and Akademiks. But here's the twist. His actually addressing it seems to have worked in his favor. He managed to get Akademiks to back down after going at him, and on top of that, AkademiksTV eased up on those wild Netflix smear campaign tweets. Now listen, it's one thing if Charlamagne is arguing with some random account with no reach, no influence, no real voice, but when those same types of attacks are coming from a brand as loud as AkademiksTV, come on, Joe, that's different. Nobody's saying you gotta pick a side, but at least keep it real about your own experiences dealing with AkademiksTV and all the clickbait narratives they've pushed about you. Because man, if you can sit there and give detailed stories about a night at the strip club, you can definitely give the audience some real insight into what's actually going on between Akademiks, AkademiksTV, and Charlamagne. No excuses.